This is Hearts and Wisdom Creators LLC bringing you another adventurous story. Once upon a time, in the heart of an enchanted forest hidden from the eyes of the ordinary world, there lived a radiant young fairy princess named Calista. She wasn't just known for her shimmering beauty, though it was said her long curly brown hair gleamed like chestnut silk in the sunlight, and her hazel eyes, speckled with hints of gold, sparkled with warmth and curiosity. Her satin-tanned skin glowed as if kissed by moonlight. But what made Calista truly special wasn't how she looked. It was who she was. Kind to everyone she met, curious about the world beyond the treetops, and brave enough to chase adventure wherever it fluttered. Calista lived in a glistening grove tucked deep in the forest, where the trees whispered old songs and the flowers opened their petals just to greet her. She was the eldest of 4 fairy siblings, and though she was the only girl, she could outfly, outthink, and outgiggle them all. Her 3 younger brothers, Thorn, Bran, and Elier, were as mischievous as they were magical. Thorn, the eldest of the 3 boys, was quiet and thoughtful. He had a natural bond with animals and could understand their chatter as if they spoke fairy tongue. Birds landed on his shoulders, and rabbits followed him like shadows. Bran, the bold and daring middle brother, had the ability to command gusts of wind with a snap of his fingers. He used it to zip through the trees, tumble leaves into swirling towers, or play tricks on unsuspecting squirrels. Elier, the youngest of the boys, had a soft heart and a gentle spirit. His gift allowed him to bring wilted flowers back to life or coax vines to grow in the shape of whatever he imagined. The forest loved him, and so did everyone else. Though different in many ways, the siblings were as close as morning dew and sunlight. They laughed together, played together, and sometimes argued over silly things, but their love was unshakable. Wherever Calista went, her brothers weren't far behind, and where they led, she followed with trust in her heart. Their favorite companions were a troop of tiny chipmunks, clever, loyal, and surprisingly well-dressed in their little leaf capes and acorn hats. The chipmunks weren't just sidekicks, they were family. One bright golden afternoon, as dappled sunlight danced through the canopy, Calista clapped her hands and spun in the air. "Let's play hide and seek." "You're it," Bran teased. "No way. You're it," Thorn retorted, but Calista had already called out, laughing. "Count to 20. And with a twirl and a giggle, she darted into the trees, her wings catching the sunlight like bits of stained glass. The others scattered like dandelion fluff, disappearing behind mossy rocks, tucked inside hollow logs, and camouflaged in blossoms. It was a game they had played hundreds of times. But this time something felt different. When the game ended, and it was time to gather, Calista was gone. "Calista!" Bran called, his smile fading. "Calista, this isn't funny," Thorn said, lifting off the ground. They searched for her high and low. The chipmunks sniffed the earth, chattered directions, and climbed trees. Thorn called to a wise owl to help search from above. Elier summoned flowers to bloom in her favorite colors, hoping she would follow their trail. But she didn't. Not even a single sparkle of her wing dust remained. Bran's voice grew sharp with worry. "She wouldn't just disappear. I think she may have wandered too close to the Whispering Hollow," Elier said quietly, looking into the distance where the trees darkened and the air grew thick with magic. "That's where the old forest bends time, where the trees remember secrets no one else dares to speak." Thorn nodded slowly. "Then that's where we go." Meanwhile, Calista tiptoed farther into the woods, giggling to herself at how clever her hiding spot was. She noticed something strange, a swirl of mist rising between 2 ancient oak trees, glowing with a soft blue light. Drawn by curiosity and the strange humming sound in the air, she fluttered closer. There, nestled in the roots of the trees, was what looked like a shimmering tear in the air itself, a portal pulsing with energy. Her hazel eyes widened. She could feel the magic pulling gently at her wings, beckoning her. Without hesitation, Calista stepped through the portal. In an instant, she was swept off her feet and carried through a tunnel of light and color. When she landed, it was in a forest unlike her own. The trees were taller, their bark silvery and smooth, and the sky above had a lavender tint, with 2 moons peeking through the clouds. Strange birds sang unfamiliar songs, and glowing flowers blinked open as she passed. She wandered carefully through this new forest, her senses alert. Not far from where she landed, tucked beneath the thick roots of an enormous tree, was a tiny chestnut-colored home. Its roof was made of woven moss. Lanterns shaped like glowing berries lined the path to the door. As Calista stepped closer to inspect it, a soft wind swirled behind her, and with a burst of light, the portal reappeared. Her 3 brothers and all the chipmunks came tumbling through, landing in a heap of laughter, twigs, and confused faces. "Oof! Where are we?" groaned Thorn, brushing leaves from his hair. Bran looked around in awe. "This isn't the glade," Bran said softly. Elior's eyes landed on Calista. "There you are. We thought we lost you," Elior screamed. Calista smiled. "I think we found something even more exciting." "You're not going to believe this," Calista said, pointing to the little house. "It's empty." The wooden door creaked open with a gentle push. Inside the cottage there were strange trinkets on the shelves, bottles that glowed softly from within, and old scrolls wrapped in silver twine. A tall staff leaned against the fireplace, and a golden map sprawled on a small wooden table. "Whoa," whispered Bran. "This place is magical. Look at this," Thorn said, picking up a shimmering cloak that flickered like moonlight. Excited and curious, the children and chipmunks explored the room. Bran lifted a golden orb from a velvet cushion, and the chipmunks climbed over the couch and scattered stardust powder into the air, giggling as it sparkled. The room echoed with curious laughter as the siblings examined the enchanted items, unaware that dark storm clouds were beginning to gather outside. Suddenly, the front door swung open with a loud slam. The room fell silent. Standing in the doorway was a tall figure cloaked in deep green and black robes, his eyes glowing a piercing silver. His long beard twisted like vines, and the air around him crackled with power. It was the warlock who owned the chestnut house. "How dare you?" he thundered, his voice shaking the walls. "Rummaging through my treasures. Stealing from a master of the ancient forest arts." The brothers dropped what they were holding. Calista stepped forward with trembling wings. "We didn't mean to," whispered Calista. But the warlock raised his staff. "Silence! For this offense, I shall make all of you my slaves." He waved his hand in a wide arc, chanting in a language that sounded like wind through dead leaves. A burst of dark magic filled the air, and before Calista could react, her brothers and chipmunk friends were swept up in a whirl of green smoke. "No!" Calista cried, falling to her knees. "Please stop, don't hurt them. They didn't mean any harm. We were just curious." The warlock narrowed his glowing eyes. "Curiosity comes at a cost," hollered the warlock. Tears welled up in Callista's eyes, but she stood tall and faced him with all the bravery she could muster. "Then take me instead. Just let them go," Calista said. The warlock's gaze lingered on her. There was a flicker of something ancient in his expression. Surprise, perhaps, or a memory long buried. "You would sacrifice yourself?" he asked, his voice quieter now. "Yes," Calista whispered. "They're my family." The warlock stroked his beard slowly. Perhaps you're braver than you look." "Very well, little fairy. I will give you a chance," said the warlock. "You and your little band will face 3 magical trials. If you pass them, I will let you all go. Fail, and you will remain in this house forever, my servants trapped by your own foolishness." Calista looked at her brothers and the chipmunks. They all nodded. "We accept," she said, lifting her chin. The warlock waved his hand, and a trapdoor opened in the middle of the floor. With a flash of light, the group was transported to the first trial. Trial 1. The Test of Kindness. The moment Calista and her companions agreed to face the trials, the chestnut cottage vanished into mist. When the fog cleared, they stood in a quiet golden glade bathed in soft sunlight. The air was warm and sweet, filled with the scent of wildflowers. In the center of the glade stood a weeping tree, its twisted branches hanging low and heavy, as though burdened by sorrow. Beneath the tree lay a wounded baby fox, its legs tangled in sharp, thorny vines. Its eyes shimmered with pain, and it let out a soft, broken bleat. As the group moved closer, glowing words appeared in the air. True kindness is not without cost. Prove your hearts are pure by giving, even when it hurts. The fox's leg bled slowly, and the thorns seemed to tighten with every passing moment. "Oh no, it needs our help," said Calista, rushing forward. Elior cautions his brother as they reach for the fox. "Be careful. Their thorns are cursed and sapping the cub's strength." Bran tried to untangle the vines gently, but the plant tugged the cub's fur, entangling it further in. The baby fox yelps and backs away, giving the vine time to slither back into place. Thorn tried speaking to the fox gently, calming it down. The chipmunks brought acorns filled with water and bits of bark to use as bandages. "I can use my sleeve to wrap the wound," Calista offered, already tearing the fabric from her dress. But nothing worked. The vines kept returning. The fox grew weaker. Suddenly, a second message glowed in the air. "Only a gift freely given from the heart can break the curse." The group fell silent. Then Thorn stepped forward slowly, reaching into the satchel slung across his shoulder. Inside was his most prized possession, a carved wooden whistle shaped like a sparrow. Their late grandmother had given it to him when he was very young. With it, he had learned to call forest animals and even calm storms. It was his connection to her memory and his gift. He clutched it tightly, his eyes glassy. "This is all I have left of her." Calista placed a gentle hand on his arm. "You don't have to." "Yes," Thorn said softly. "I do." He knelt beside the cub and laid the whistle next to its wounded leg, whispering, "For you, little one." As soon as the whistle touched the ground, it glowed brightly. The baby fox bit and chewed onto the instrument, allowing the seven enough time to untangle the vine. As soon as the last thorn was taken from the cub's fur, the plant recoiled, rotted, then turned to dust. The fox slowly stood, its wound healed, its body now surrounded by soft light. It walked over to Thorn, nuzzled his cheek with gratitude, then vanished into the golden mist. The weeping tree straightened and bloomed with tiny white blossoms. A final glowing message floated into the sky. Kindness asks not what it gains, but what it gives. Thorn stared at the empty space where his whistle had been, tears in his eyes, but also a peaceful smile on his face. "You did something beautiful," Calista said, hugging him. As the light around them shimmered, a path opened forward, leading them to the second trial. After the first trial faded into golden mist, Calista and her companions found themselves standing at the edge of a rocky cliff. Below them, a wide, misty canyon stretched out as far as the eye could see. There was no bridge, no wings could carry them across, and no magic seemed to work here. On the other side stood a tall, glowing archway, the only way forward. Suddenly, 3 narrow rope bridges rose from the mist. One bridge was grand and gleaming, made of polished gold and silver thread. The second made of solid steel and bronze thread. The last was simple, frayed ropes and old wooden planks, swaying gently in the breeze. A stone beside them lit up with glowing words. "Only the humble may pass. The proud will fall." Bran stepped toward the golden bridge. "Clearly this is the way. Look at it, solid and shining," Bran said. Thorn disagreed. "The second bridge looks strongest," he declared. Elior, at first hesitant but firmed his gaze, told Bran and Thorn, "Both of your choices are wrong. We should take the last bridge since it looks the humblest." Bran and Thorn vehemently argued that their bridge was the right choice. They looked to Calista. But unfortunately, she liked all their choices and could not choose between her brothers. Suddenly behind Calista, the chipmunks were all a-chatter, causing her to turn. They pointed to an old turtle walking to them. "What dilemma have befallen that you cannot even make a choice?" the turtle inquires, looking upon the arguing fairy children. Calista looks at the bridges, then towards her brothers, who now have their backs turned into stubborn angst. "Humph. the turtle said in a voice like distant thunder. This grand bridge tests your pride and stubbornness, said the turtle softly. What are your brothers currently most proud about? Calista looked at the bridges. They swayed and creaked. Her wings twitched with hesitation. They all think their choice is right. She taps her chin, pondering. I know logically that can't be the case, but I just can't think of which could be the answer. Calista's eyes widen with realization that only the turtle could be the mediator needed to help her brothers find the answer. Mr. Turtle, would you be willing to help my brothers? She asked. Only if they are willing to listen, for there is nothing I can do if they remain set in their choice. The turtle explained. Calista called her brothers, who were now ignoring each other, and told them she found a better mediator. The three boys approached the turtle, waiting to be told who was right. The turtle stared into each of the boys' eyes before giving his answer. You are all wrong and you are all right. The boys at first were shocked, then angry. What kind of answer is that? Bran yelled. That doesn't even make sense. Thorn exclaimed. I know turtles need time to find answers. Maybe you should rethink that. Elier stared at the turtle, confused. The turtle turned his head to Calista to get her brothers in line. In turn, she made a sorrowful face, pleaded. Listen, for he has much wisdom to share. Thorn interrupts. But sis, he can't be right. He glares at the turtle stubbornly. My answer makes the most sense. It's strong enough to hold us all. Bran glares at Thorn. Yours might look strong, but how is it worthy of fairy royalty? But isn't the whole point of the test humbleness? That's why the last bridge should be the answer. Elier butts in. Calista pinches the bridge of her nose. Just hear him out, and if you still don't like the answer, I'll choose a bridge at random and cross it. How about that? The brothers grudgingly nodded. The turtle sighs. If all of you had bothered to inspect the bridges properly, there is a problem with each one. The turtle points his paw at the gold bridge. Gold isn't a strong metal and would have fallen after the first person passed over it. He then points to the steel and bronze bridge. Although the steel planks and bronze thread are strong, the bolts holding the ropes up are rusted over from the moist earth. After the first person passed over, the weight of the material would break the bolts. The turtle then points to the last bridge. Although the trial is about humbleness, you're too proud about your choice to see the obvious neglect. Parts of the bridge are too old to last past one person passing atop it. The turtle peers at the three. Had any of you crossed with more than one person, you would have fallen. And even if only one of you took a bridge each, only 3 of the 7 of you could have made it to the other side, leaving 4 of you behind to perish. The boys studied their respective bridges and saw the truth of the turtle's words. Letting go of their pride, they apologized to the turtle. Mr. Turtle, how do we get across then? Bran asked. Although these bridges by themselves are weak, if they are combined, they can last long enough for everyone to pass. The turtle answers before walking away. After seeing the turtle off, the group comes up with a plan. One of the chipmunks deftly runs across the steel-bronze bridge and undoes the bolts on the opposite side of each bridge. The remaining 6 pulled up the bridges and worked fast, pulling apart what could be of use and what wouldn't. With fairy strength, speed, and skillful hands, a magnificent bridge of steel piers, gold handrails, and creaky wooden planks came to be. Quickly, let us cross and be done with this test, Thorn calls, hurriedly running to the other side. Wait, Thorn, we must tread lightly, Calista warns. But not taking heed, a crack echoed. A moldy board suddenly gave way to Thorn's weight. He manages to quickly grasp hold onto the bronze rope. Oh no! Calista screams and, not thinking, tries to run over. Elier pulls her back though before her foot could press down onto the bridge. What are you doing? I must help. No! All the boys yelled. I swear if this is because I'm a girl, Calista scowls. No, it isn't. Bran pushes her back further from the bridge as Elier ties up some rope from leftover gold and bronze rope. If it's not because I'm a girl, then why? Asked Calista. You're our sister and future queen. Now stand back. Elier yells. Hold on, we're coming. And steadily speed walks over. Calista, there isn't enough stability for all of us at once. Stay here. Bran yells before tying what was left of the bronze and gold rope to his waist and hands the other end to the chipmunks. Both brothers steadily walk to Thorn, whose hands are slowly losing their grip. Just as Thorn couldn't hold anymore. Just as Thorn couldn't hold on any longer. His fingers slipping from the bronze rope, Bran dove forward, grabbing his arm in a flash of fairy speed. "I've got you!" Bran shouted, his wings fluttering to keep their weight steady. But the weakened planks groaned under the strain. Bran's boots began to slide across the slick wood. Just before they could both fall, Ellior dropped to his knees, dug his heels into the boards, and grabbed Bran's belt, anchoring them. "Pull!" Ellior called to the chipmunks. The chipmunks squeaked in determination, scurrying backward with the rope wrapped around their tiny bodies like a pulley system. The gold and bronze cords shimmered, stretching taut, groaning under the weight of the three brothers. Thorn's feet dangled over the deep canyon, the mist swirling ominously below, but inch by inch the rope tightened. "Don't let go, Thorn," Bran grunted. "We're not losing you now," he screamed. With one final heave from the chipmunks and a powerful tug from Ellior, the brothers collapsed in a pile at the edge of the bridge, gasping and shaking. Calista dropped to her knees beside them, tears sparkling in her eyes. "Are you all right?" she cried. Thorn coughed, smiled weakly, and said, "That could have gone better." "You didn't listen," Calista scolded, brushing hair from his face. "I told you we had to tread lightly." "I know," Thorn said, voice trembling. "I thought I could make it. I didn't want to slow everyone down." Ellior placed a hand on his brother's shoulder and said, "You're never slowing us down. We're in this together." Bran nodded, brushing dust off his knees. "One wing alone can't carry a fairy far, but four together, we can fly across worlds," he said. The bridge creaked ominously again. They all quickly stood up. Calista took a breath, her voice steadier. "Let's get to the other side. Slowly. Together." This time they moved as one. Bran in front testing each plank, Ellior in the middle holding the rope for balance, and Calista guarding the rear with the chipmunks close by. The rebuilt bridge groaned but held, piece by piece, plank by plank. When they finally stepped onto solid ground beneath the golden archway on the other side, a warm light surrounded them. The turtle's voice returned, echoing softly across the canyon. "Humility is not walking alone with pride, but knowing when to lean on others. You have passed." A glowing path lit up ahead, winding toward the final trial. They stood together in silence for a moment, still catching their breath, still holding on to each other. Not just as siblings or friends, but now as a team truly bound by trust. And with the mist behind them, they pressed onward and ready for the last test that awaited. After proving their kindness to the helpless fox and their humility upon the fragile bridge, Calista, her brothers, and the chipmunks followed a trail of glowing runes that shimmered like fireflies in the air. The forest faded behind them, and with each step, the world around them grew quieter, colder, more mysterious. The path led into the mouth of a shadowy cavern, its arched entrance carved with ancient glyphs that pulsed softly as they passed beneath. The stone floor was cool beneath their feet. Tiny crystals embedded in the walls flickered like stars, casting a soft, silvery light that danced across their faces. The deeper they went, the more the walls shimmered. Moving constellations slid across the stone like puzzle pieces, rearranging themselves into unfamiliar shapes. A spiral-eyed fox, a winged serpent, a tree rooted in both fire and water. Finally, they descended into a large, circular chamber, perfectly round and impossibly still. There were no doors, no windows, no sound except the faint beating of their hearts and the rustle of chipmunk tails. In the center stood a single stone pedestal, ancient and worn with time, and resting atop it was a smooth black sphere, faintly glowing with shifting silver runes that coiled across its surface like smoke. Encircling the chamber were 12 statues of animals, each carved with exquisite detail. An owl with wide, watchful eyes, a coiled serpent, a crouching fox, a noble fox, a turtle mid-step, a bear, a raven, a wolf, and more. All faced inward, as if judging the group in complete silence. Then the chamber trembled faintly, and a deep, steady voice echoed all around them, not booming but resonating through their bones. Wisdom lies not in knowing all, but in seeing through the veil. Her eyes opened wide. "I know," she said quietly. "It's not a creature. It's not something alive at all." She stepped forward to the pedestal. "It's something we use every day but don't often think about. Something we need. But it can also be dangerous." She turned to her brothers. "It's fire." Bran blinked. "Fire does grow, but it's not alive. It dies without air," Elier added. "And if you throw water on it, it drowns." Calista faced the sphere and spoke clearly, confidently. "The answer is fire." Silence. The air stilled. Then suddenly, a hum filled the room like a chorus of stars awakening. The black sphere burst into silver light, splitting into 12 radiant beams that touched each of the animal statues. Their eyes glowed as if awakened from sleep, and the chamber began to rotate, slowly spinning like a massive gear. Cracks of light appeared in the walls, forming lines and spirals. With a final burst of magic, the chamber's ceiling opened, revealing a golden staircase spiraling upward into starlight. The voice returned, this time kind and proud. "Clever not with noise but with thought. Wisdom is the torch in the dark." The glowing runes that had once led them into the cavern now floated upward, illuminating their path. The chamber faded behind them as they began to ascend the golden stairs, one by one, still in awe. Calista glanced back just once, a flicker of wonder in her eyes. "We did it." Elier nodded. "All 3 trials. Together," Thorn added, a grin breaking across his face. "Always together." The chipmunks squeaked and spun in celebration, their tiny arms raised in victory. At the top of the stairs they found the warlock waiting, his arms crossed, brow raised. Not with anger but with quiet respect. "Well," he said slowly, "perhaps I underestimated you." With a flick of his staff, a swirling portal appeared, glowing in 3 intertwined colors. Soft gold for kindness, pale blue for humility, silver flame for intelligence. "You have proven yourselves worthy," he said. "You have proven yourselves as being honorable, trustworthy, and humble. Do not let me see you inside my home searching through my things again. You are forgiven. You may go." The fairies and their chipmunk friends bowed graciously and stepped toward the portal, their wings brushing together, their laughter light but reverent. As they passed through the swirling light, they left not just a challenge behind but their old selves, reborn through trial, trust, and truth. Moral of the story. This story reminds us that it's important to respect other people's spaces and belongings. Even when we're curious or excited, it's always best to ask permission before entering someone's home or touching things that don't belong to us. Thoughtfulness and respect are signs of good character, and they help build trust with others. It also teaches us that true strength comes from kindness, humility, and wisdom. Calista, her brothers, and their chipmunk friends learned that being brave means helping others, admitting when you need help, and using your mind and heart to make thoughtful choices. Working together and doing what's right makes all the difference. If you enjoyed this story, please hit the like button and subscribe to Hearts and Wisdom Creators LLC. Goodbye for now.